Hello, and welcome to A Fool's Guide to Tech. Today we will be talking about the functionality of a trend in mobile phone design that has been increasingly popular in recent years, this being the trend of multiple lens camera technology. Double lens camera technology has been around for a few years now, and most major cell phone companies offer this as a feature of at least some of their phones, but many are of very poor build quality and experience many issues with both their hardware and their software. Triple plus lens cameras, however, are currently less common. However, there are a few examples on the market today, like the Huawei P20 Pro and the newly announced Galaxy S10, S10 Plus, and Galaxy Fold that are of high quality. Also, many of the more extreme examples of multiple lens camera technology are only available in China, which has a technology market well known for its experimentation. But how does a multiple lens phone camera actually work? Well, the answer is that they all work in very different ways, and that there are a variety of ways to use multiple lens setups to achieve better photography. One way is to use a second, usually identical camera as a depth sensor. This is the most simple setup and is fairly obsolete. In this setup, there is a dedicated camera that is used along with the first camera to find the distance of the subject from the camera, as well as the distance from the camera to the background. This is done by having the cameras look for the slight difference in perspective caused by the cameras being in different places relative to the subject of the photo. This information is then used to add what is called a bokeh, or a background blur. This is an effect that's commonly found in portrait photography, and is done mechanically using a DSLR camera because of the lens being so much bigger. For example, although this bookcase behind me is fairly close to me, you may notice, if you're watching in the full resolution, that it is slightly out of focus. This is because I placed an object on this stool before I started filming, and then focused the camera to that. This is a good tip if you're ever taking a self-portrait or trying to record yourself with a DSLR camera. Monochrome type dual lenses are another type of camera setup that is commonly used. This setup usually has two cameras that have the same specifications, only one doesn't have an RGB filter. That's the part of the camera that detects and captures color. This camera can be used either as a dedicated camera for black and white photos, which produces much better images than those that have their color removed digitally, or as the camera used to enhance the exposure of a photo. How this works is that the monochrome lens lets in much more light than the color lens, and the camera can use that to enhance the quality of low-light pictures. The third type of dual lens camera design is using a telephoto lens as a second camera. This design is a bit more expensive, so you see this mostly on more expensive handsets. This lens is designed to improve the zoom function of the camera, usually doing up to 2 times optical zoom. What that means is that when you zoom into 2 times with a telephoto lens, you don't lose any quality that is lost when zooming digitally like on most smartphones. Another type of dual camera setup is a wide-angle lens camera setup. These cameras are used to capture more of a view in a shot. Wide-angle and standard view cameras are usually not used in pairs, because of the lack of significant difference in image quality other than the field of view. These are the 4 basic camera setups, but many companies play around in their designs and mix and match different types of cameras to create unique devices with many different abilities. That being said, the combination of wide-angle and telephoto is still the most common setup used on the market today. All iPhones with dual cameras, including the iPhone X and XS, use this setup. The Galaxy Note 9 also uses this type of dual camera rig. When you see these devices with triple lens or bigger camera setups that are entering the markets today, they're simply a combination of these types of cameras. Take for example the Huawei P20 Pro. The P20 Pro is made by a Chinese company known as Huawei. This phone is known to have a very good camera system. Its camera rig includes a monochrome lens, a standard RGB lens, and a telephoto lens. However, as of the day this was posted, the P20 Pro is not available in the US due to the US's mistrust of the company, since they are rumored to have traded in US national secrets with the Chinese government. Up until now, there has not been very many flagship devices that have made use of a camera rig with more than 2 cameras on either the front or the back of the device. However, the recently announced Galaxy S10 family of smartphones, as well as the events of MWC 2019, show that the norm of restraint in the number of cameras is about to be nullified across most major smartphone brands. The Galaxy S10 comes in 3 different versions: the S10e, the standard model Galaxy S10, and the premium Galaxy S10 Plus. The S10e has a dual lens setup with a standard field of view camera and Samsung's new ultra-wide panoramic camera that is built to replicate the field of view of the human eye. The standard model S10 will feature 3 cameras on its rear. Along with the standard and ultra-wide lenses, it will also have a telephoto camera, which will enable optical zoom up to 2 times. The S10 Plus will feature the same 3-lens rear camera assembly, and will also have a second selfie camera added to the front of the device. The premium model Galaxy Fold will have a similar camera array as the Galaxy S10 Plus. Now personally, I feel these design choices are fairly excessive and only drive the prices of the devices up, without adding much extra functionality to the device. On most smartphones, the camera rig is one of the most expensive things to manufacture. These lens assemblies cost hundreds of dollars for Samsung to make, and many, if not most people, rarely use their smartphone cameras at all, much less to go out and shoot photos of a huge variety of subjects like the design of the camera is built for. So, I have a recommendation for those of you who may be considering the Galaxy S10 Plus, or any other fairly expensive phone with a relatively large number of cameras within the near future. 1. If you aren't crazy interested in photography, don't spend upwards of $1,000 to buy a phone only for a good camera array, especially considering the fact that the 3 Galaxy S10 models have the exact same Snapdragon processor. And 2. If you are super interested in photography, don't waste your money on a really expensive phone solely for the camera. Just buy a standard DSLR camera in addition to your phone. It is a bit harder to use than a phone camera, but with some practice you can get some really consistently incredible shots. I'm currently filming this on a Canon Rebel T6, and it works great for the photography and videography that I do. That being said, if you're in the middle ground who wants to take cool photos for social media, but isn't super interested in using them in a professional setting, you may want to consider a dual-lens camera that is more modest and less expensive than the one on the Galaxy S10 Plus. I personally own an iPhone 7 Plus, and it has an excellent camera for anything point-and-shoot that I would ever need as a casual photographer. I hope this video has been informational about the nature of dual-lens cameras on phones. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like it. If you enjoyed it enough to want to see more of my videos, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.